Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you see the Word file I shared already?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I just show you, Professor Sahu will or probably circulated it. If not, even I am just sharing it, the course content. He will circulate along with references and all other things. And just for your information, I just thought that better to share you once more the course content. And as I said earlier also, that first three section I will cover. Okay. Now I'm going back to the discussion where I left last class. So this is the course content Professor Sahu will share with you in the coming days, or probably he already shared. Can you see the Word file where I was writing last class? Can you see? And can you hear me? Can you see the Word file?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So last class, what I started with, that about most of our economic problem, that our resources are limited, wants are unlimited, and because of that, ultimately, what happened? With our limited resource, we want to maximize our satisfaction or wellness. As our wants are human wants are unlimited, resources are limited. With our limited resource, we want to maximize our wellness, welfare, or utility. Here comes a terminology that is called utility, suppose. So what do I mean by utility then? Utility of a particular commodity is the one satisfying power at a particular point in time. So utility is nothing but the one satisfying power of a particular commodity at a particular point in time. So right now, what I said even last class, that right now, if you are someone of you are using a pen, then I would say that this pen is having its utility. Now, question arises that whether you can quantify or in a position to quantify that utility or not, that is different issue. I'm coming to that point. But utility of a particular commodity is the one satisfying power of that commodity at that particular point in time. Say you are very, very thirsty right now, suppose I am offering you a glass of water. So that water, drinking water, that glass of water will have its utility. Similarly, if you are in a football field, what I said probably last class, if you are in a football field and you need a football to play, so that football will have utility at that particular point in time. So it may vary which person, it may vary which time, place, and so and so. I believe it is clear. Now, your wants are unlimited, resources are limited. For the time being, what I say, if you assume that money is a very narrow definition of resource, for the time being, if you assume that money is your resource, suppose, then the moment you spell out, if I ask you a question that how much money you have, the moment you spell out any value, limitedness is coming into picture. So basically, whether it is money or other kind of resource, it is limited. It is not unlimited. And when resources are limited, and with that resource you are satisfying your wants, so while utilizing that resources, limited resources, you are always careful. You will always try to see that there is an efficient utilization of resources so that with that limited resource you can maximize your utility, or you can satisfy your wants to its maximum level. So always, directly or indirectly, always you try for efficient utilization of resources. This is a common practice. We usually do it. Same is the case. So all the time, a human being try to maximize his or her utility or wellness or welfare. Okay, all the time. But please remember, probably in last class I said, or might be in other section I discussed, that do not think that or do not try to generalize it everything right now. Certain things you can generalize it, and we are ultimately going to generalize it across individual. But many a time, some of your individual decision-making behavior may vary from one person to another person. Think about your consumption basket, your requirement. So from one person to another person, your requirement is different. It is not that everyone is say right now. So in my example, I offered you a glass of water. So it doesn't mean that say everyone have to consume a glass of water or everyone has to have a glass of water right now. Not necessarily. So from person to person, that requirement may vary, and so is the consumption basket. So if I ask you, say for example, hypothetically, suppose if I ask you that, okay, you prepare a list of items you need based on your preference. I ask you that based on your preference, your requirement, you prepare your preference list of items. Whether you have money right now or not, that will come later on. But I ask you that you prepare your individual preference list. So you prepared, suppose there are n number of items, each one of you prepared your own preference list. But while preparing that preference list, certain things are very, very important, where generalization will come into picture. Like while preparing that preference list, what I ask you that when you are preparing that preference list, ensure that you are not influenced by any other person. And when you are going to market, ensure that you are looking for first item first, because you prepared your own preference list. And when you went to market, you are supposed to look for first item first. That I expect from you. And here comes your rationality, that you must be a rational human being. Individual must be a rational human being. Here comes your generalization, that we expect that your individual preference list may be different, it may be vary. That is perfectly all right. But what I expect from you, that when you prepare your preference list, we expect that all individuals who are preparing that preference list, you are behaving rationally. Okay. Now, let's go back to our discussion of utility again. I will come back to that issue again about your preference list, rationality, so and so within a minute or within 2-3 minutes. Now, there are two groups of economists. Two groups of economists. One group believe that you can measure utility in quantitative form, quantitatively. The other group believe that no, you cannot measure utility in a quantitative way. So the group who believe, or the way of measuring utility in a quantitative form, is called your cardinal measure of utility. Cardinal measure. One group said that utility you can measure in quantitative form in terms of numbers. So this way of measuring utility is called cardinal measure of utility. And the other form of measuring utility in relative term, because the other groups say that no, you cannot measure utility in quantitative form. You can measure utility only in relative form. This is called ordinal measure of utility. Ordinal measure. So I will come back to that ordinal measure later on. Right now I'm concentrating on quantitative measurement of utility in terms of number. But whether you measure it in quantitative or qualitatively utility, or one satisfying power of a particular commodity at a particular point in time, whether you measure it in quantitative form or qualitatively, it depends upon certain assumptions. Both in cardinal and ordinal measure, you will find certain assumptions. And some of these assumptions are common in both the cases. I will come to those issues. One first assumption is obviously what I already discussed. This is your rationality. That the individual must be a rational human being. This is the first assumption in both ordinal and cardinal. Your first assumption is that rationality. Second is, already I discussed in other words. Can you hear me? And can you see the word file where I am writing?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So in case you face any problem, again and again I am telling it, probably in last class I mentioned it. In case you face any problem, do not hesitate to ask me, but do not raise your hand, just unmute the system, you speak, and then after that you mute your system again, once it is over. Because I am in other screen. All the time I am not coming to that, your MS team, that meeting, that screen. Second is, in my class, do not hesitate to ask question. You go on asking. Do not hesitate. Okay. I'm happy that in some other section, they were asking me a lot of questions. Anyway, there is a problem with respect to time, but that is not a big issue. We'll manage it somehow. And initial few lecture, I will be relatively slow. If you are expecting that I am supposed to be very, very fast, then it may not happen initially. Because if you are not understanding, it is of no use of jumping or quickly covering your syllabus. Because of that, initial few lecture, let it be. And many a times I will bring lot of examples. I'm yet to bring probably here. Lot of example I will give you, maybe your day-to-day life. And many a times there will be simple question, maybe 6-7 standard question. So what I expect from you, that you should quickly answer it, so that quickly I can move on. These are not a very big question or very complex question. It is not like that. Very simple question related to your behavior. And please remember, when I am asking you some question related to your behavior, means consumption behavior or purchasing activity and so. Do not think that someone is saying something that is right and what you are saying it is wrong. It is not like that. Individual behavior, you have every right to behave in that way. But only my expectation is that there must be some rationality, what I discussed it a few minutes back. Okay. So, okay, coming back to our discussion, rationality. Second is what I already said, resources are limited. So here is that limitation, assumption that your limited money income or limited resource. Second assumption is that limited income or limited resources. Third assumption is that consumer is yet to attain the level of saturation. Means you are looking for that commodity. It has a link with rationality again. Consumer is yet to attain the level of saturation. Saturation means, suppose I with respect to water, you are very thirsty. Meaning is what? With respect to water, you are not at a level of saturation. Means if you get an opportunity, you will consume or have more and more water. Drinking water, I am referring it by default. But if you are already saturated with respect to water, that you cannot consume any more additional quantity of water, you cannot have it. Suppose your situation is like that. Then even if I offer you a glass of water, you will refuse it. So here comes your irrational behavior. So when you are saturated, there is every possibility that you may behave irrationally. But if you are yet to attain the level of saturation, we expect that you are supposed to behave rationally. Means if you get an opportunity, you will try to consume or possess more quantity of that commodity. The meaning is like that. Saturation and non-saturation means if you are not saturated, if you get an opportunity, maybe in future, you will try to consume or possess more and more quantity of that commodity, because all the commodity you cannot consume. Some of that commodity you may possess also. Okay. Then another assumption is that all the time you want to maximize your level of satisfaction or wellness or welfare. Means all the time you try to maximize your utility. So you are a utility maximizing entity, you can say. So all the time you try to maximize your utility. This is another assumption. Okay.
Yes, am I audible?
Pardon?
Sir, can you explain ordinal measure once?
Ordinal, why are you jumping to ordinal measure? What I said, ordinal measure is a qualitative measurement of or relative term we measuring utility. But my question is that why you are jumping to ordinal measure? What is the logic? I want to know from you.
Sir, I thought you have explained it. I missed that. So
No. What I said, ordinal measure, I will discuss sometime later, but there are a lot of things to discuss under cardinal measure. And right now I am discussing only cardinal measure. After that, I will come back to ordinal measure. Okay.
yes, sir.
And ordinal measure will take maybe around 4 or 5 lecture. Even cardinal measure will take maybe even 2 days lecture, maybe. I'm not sure. Let's hope. Okay. Anyway, so right now I'm discussing some of that assumption under the cardinal measure. And in some of that assumption will be even common in ordinal measure. And during that time, please remember, I will only mention the assumption, not everything. I will not again explain. So what I said here, one is rationality. Second is you have limited money income or limited resource. Third one is consumer is yet to attain the level of saturation. Okay. I'm not writing. You can see in recording, because it is recorded. You can anytime you can see it or some other method. Anyway, yet to attain the level of saturation. Another what I mentioned, assumption, rationality, limited money income. Then all the time you want to maximize your utility. Okay, utility maximizing entity or something like that. Okay. Then another is obviously utility is measured in cardinally. This is in quantitative term, utility is measured. Okay. That is another assumption. Then another is your utility is additive, means just like these two I am going to elaborate further. Another is utility is additive. Additive. I believe it is double D, additive. Utility is additive. It is cardinally measured. Cardinally measured. Utility is measured cardinally, means in quantitative term, it is additive. Now another is it follow diminishing marginal utility. Diminishing marginal utility. And another is constant utility of money, constant marginal utility of money, constant marginal utility, constant marginal utility of money, of of money. So a lot of things are there to discuss. First, okay, let's go for some discussion. So what it says that utility is measured cardinally, means in quantitative terms. Let's discuss first this one because I am yet to come. Only I mentioned a few assumptions. So this group believe that when you are measuring utility in quantitative term, the money value you are ready to pay, that is its utility. Say, what I want to say that you are very thirsty, I offer you a glass of water, suppose first glass. I believe I didn't discuss this example, did I? Did I discuss it here?
No, sir.
Okay. So suppose these are hypothetical. This example, I think yesterday, or day before yesterday, I discussed it in other class. So suppose you are very thirsty, I offered you a glass of water, but it is not free. Drinking water quality is maintained. Shape of that glass is 200 ml, means size, and shape is standard size, shape, and so and so. This is behind the scene. Those things are there. You are having limited money income. Those things are there by exception. So what it said, utility is measured cardinally or quantitatively. Means utility at a particular point in time for a particular commodity is the money value you are ready to pay. So right now, suppose I offered you a glass of water with a price tag of 10 rupee. You are very thirsty. Suppose you are playing football. You are desperately looking for a glass of water. So if you ready to pay 10 rupee, then I would say its utility is 10. They use another terminology that is called util. So you ignore right now that one, that unit of utility is util, UTIL, util. But anyway, so utility of this particular commodity, this glass of water is 10. Okay, it's clear that assumption. So utility of a particular commodity at a particular point in time is the money value you are ready to pay. Please remember, not necessarily that this is the market price. It may be market price, it may not be. What I say, this is the money you are ready to pay right now for that glass of water. Depending upon the condition, sometimes even someone might be ready to pay even 100 rupee also for a glass of water. Depends upon what kind of water it is, or how much quantity, and so and so. But otherwise, it depends upon how much you are ready to pay. So utility of a particular commodity at a particular point in time is the money value you are ready to pay. Now another is additive. Okay, I'm coming. Then diminishing marginal utility, constant marginal utility. Okay, one by one I'm explaining. Now, okay, let me go. Just a minute. Let me see. Just give me a minute. I'm just adding maybe. Okay. Okay. Just a minute. Because otherwise it will create problem. I'm just adding few pages here below, because I will go on writing this file only. So what I was telling for this one, you are okay. We are here. We are paying 10 rupees, suppose. Then this is my question to you. Suppose you are very thirsty. I offered you a glass of water, okay, with a price tag of 10 rupees. And as I say, the quality of water is drinking water, fine quality. shape of the glass is 200 mm size, and shape is standard shape, and so and so. What will you do? Will you pay this 10 rupee and consume a glass of water or not? Quickly, quick answer.
If I'm thirsty, I'll purchase.
So you will purchase. So the simple question here is, or that whether you will purchase it or not, and some of you will at least purchase it. Okay, some of you may not purchase also, depending upon how saturated you are with respect to water, or how close to that saturation point with respect to water. So it depends upon your condition, but definitely if you are very, very thirsty, you are going to purchase it. Okay, this is one. Now, second issue, then those who purchase it, what I did, I offered them second glass of water. Second glass. With a price tag of 10. What will you do? What will you do? Will you purchase it?
It would depend. It would depend if the first glass of water could satisfy my need.
Then you will not purchase it. Simple answer. So I am telling to others also that do not hesitate to answer in my question, in my class. Go on answering quickly. And these kind of questions are maybe what I say, 6, 7 standard or even below. So do not hesitate. Now, I assume, suppose, if you say that, okay, I will pay 10 rupee, then I will again write 10, then I will move on to third glass. But I want to make that story short little bit. So what I did, I said that, okay, you are not purchasing at 10 rupee, then I reduce your price to 5 rupee. Hypothetical, all are hypothetical value. Then you purchase it, suppose, then its utility is 5. Then I offered you third glass of water. Okay, with a price tag of 2 rupees, suppose. Its utility is 2. In that way, it is going on. So what it says, utility is additive. This is your marginal utility, first of all. And what is your total utility? Total utility is, suppose from after first glass 10, after 2 glasses 15, after 3 glasses 17. We are just adding it up. So total utility here after 3 glasses of water is 17. So because of that, we say that utility is additive. Just like any addition, we are just adding it up. Now, what is marginal utility? It is the additional utility you generate because of consuming or possessing one additional unit of that commodity. It is the additional utility a consumer generates because of, or wellness a consumer generates because of consuming or possessing one additional unit of that particular commodity. So how we measure utility? Marginal utility. Marginal utility is measured in this way. Suppose change in total utility by change in unit of consumption. Means what? For second glass of water, how we measure it? Marginal utility is 5. How we measure it? This one. This 5. How we got it? This value. How we got it? It is change, means change in total utility, means 15 minus 10. 15 minus 10 divided by change in unit of consumption, 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1. Ultimately, you are getting 5. So 5 is coming in this way. So it is the marginal utility, means the additional utility you generate because of consuming or possessing one additional unit of that particular commodity. And in economics, the concept of marginal, this marginal concept is very, very important concept, because in later part also in different discussion, this marginal concept will come into picture. Okay, like marginal cost, marginal revenue, different way it will come into picture. Now, in our present example, marginal utility here means the additional utility you generate by consuming or possessing one additional unit, one glass of water, additional glass of water. So for first glass, your marginal utility is 10. here. Second glass 5, third glass 2. Each and every case, as you are moving towards saturation, you are ready to pay on less and less quantity. A point will come when you are not even ready to pay even a single rupee. It will be close to zero. In exceptional case, even marginal utility may become even negative. When because of consumption or possession, you generate some negative utility or disutility. It may happen. Suppose I offered you some food, you consume so much that you started suffering from stomach upset. Instead of increasing your wellness is decreasing. It may happen in that way. Okay. Then what you observe with respect to marginal utility? Marginal utility in succeeding cases are decreasing. 10, 5, 2, it may go on decreasing in that way. And this assumption says diminishing marginal utility. This is the case. The marginal utility is diminishing, and it follows basically the assumption says it follow law of diminishing marginal utility. It follow law of diminishing marginal utility. What is that law of diminishing marginal utility? Law of diminishing marginal utility. What that law of diminishing marginal utility follow? It says that when more and more unit of a particular commodity is consumed or possessed, one satisfying power of each and every succeeding unit will decrease. This is basically one satisfying power of each and every succeeding unit. Against each and every unit, it is associated value is one satisfying power. So when more and more unit of a particular commodity, in this case, these glasses of water, a consumer is consuming or possessing, one satisfying power of each and every unit, succeeding unit will decrease. One satisfying power of each and every succeeding unit means what? Marginal utility. So marginal utility decrease. When a consumer consumes more and more unit of a particular commodity, its marginal utility will decrease in for each and every succeeding units. And that is the law of diminishing marginal utility. Clear? Clear or not? Any doubt? Anything?
It's clear, sir.
Okay. Now, another assumption is there. Let me explain that one also. That is constant marginal utility of money. Suppose here, for first glass of water, you are ready to pay 10 rupee. So 10 rupee, what they assume, 10 rupee is an aggregation of 10 1 rupee coin. Suppose 10 rupee is an aggregation of 10 1 rupee coin, and they assume that each and every 1 rupee coin will have same meaning to you. Because each and every 1 rupee coin will have its marginal utility. That marginal utility remains same. That they assume. In case of money, they assume that constant marginal utility of money means each and every 1 rupee coin will have same meaning to you. This is one of the assumptions. Now, suppose I do not remember. Did I ask you any question that suppose you went to Tech Market to purchase something and you answered me some, I think, last class? You answered might be which certain item. Do you remember those items?
Sir, fruit science.
Fruits and whatever, because I say during that time that I am not going to leave that example, and again I will bring it back. So what was that item you said? Fruits, then? Do you remember the item? These are hypothetical. That is nothing special about that example, that you have to bring only that item. Suppose, I remember, I think yesterday or something, someone was giving me that kind of answer. Suppose you went to market and you purchase a cream, suppose, small cream, suppose you purchase a cream, by small cream, maybe even lip balm or something even like that, or face cream, maybe you paid say 30 rupee, suppose. Okay, 30 rupee you paid. Then another person, then your second item is suppose a pen. For that pen you paid suppose 20 rupee. Then another item is suppose a notebook, suppose 15 rupees, suppose something. These are all hypothetical value. Do not ask me any question on that, why it is 30 rupee. You are free to prepare your own example. Okay, suppose, is it okay? Are you comfortable with these three items? All are hypothetical. You can change your item as per your wish. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, what is my intention? I am telling you beforehand, because otherwise you will be confused, or you might be thinking on. I am trying to make it more complicated. It is my intention is that one only. Okay, I am trying to make the example more complicated, because in your reality, in your real life, what is happening? Consumption basket is having n different items. One individual's, each and every individual's consumption basket might be different. Someone's consumption basket might be at top of that list, maybe a needle also. Do not think that always I'm arranging it based on its price or something. It is not like that. It depends upon how much you are ready to pay. This 30, 20, 50, 15 is not the market price. You are ready to pay, suppose. Okay, right now, something like that. Then what is happening? All the time behind the scene, those assumptions are there, and all the time you want to maximize your utility. So let me go quickly. So you purchase a cream by paying 30, so its utility is 30. Okay, that is, you know it already. Then you will go for pen, but before going to pen, where utility is 20, because you are ready to pay 20. Before going to purchase the pen, will there not be an issue comes like, what about that second unit of that cream? This is the first unit. This is the first unit. What about that second unit of that cream? How much you are ready to pay? Because it is supposed to follow law of diminishing marginal utility. Law of diminishing marginal utility, it will follow. Means next unit will have less utility, because I assume that you are not ready to pay same 30 rupee for second unit. And if you say that no, for second unit also I am ready to pay 30 rupee, then I will move on to third unit, fourth unit, fifth unit, in that way. Then a point will come when you will be ready to pay not any more 30 rupee. You will pay less and less. Means you will follow that law of diminishing marginal utility for that one. So for second unit, suppose you are ready to pay 25 rupee, suppose. So its utility is 25. Then I will move on to third unit. How much you are ready to pay? Because you are a utility maximizing entity, means all the time you try to maximize your utility. Then technically speaking, before going to purchase the pen, if second unit of cream is giving you more utility, you are supposed to go for more second unit of this cream, not this pen. Are you getting my point? What I am telling it? If cream is giving, second unit of cream is giving you more utility than pen, then you are supposed to go for second unit of this cream. Clear? Because all the time you try to maximize your utility with your limited income. Clear or not? Or you have doubt? Whatever doubt you have, you tell me. Speak out. What I say, first unit you are ready to pay 30 rupee, you paid 30 rupee. Its utility is 30. Second unit, suppose 25. So each utility is 25. Then if second unit is having more utility than first unit of pain, you are supposed to go for this one along with this one. So pain will come quite later on. Third unit, suppose you are ready to pay 20 rupees. Decreasing, law of diminishing marginal utility is decreasing. So each utility is 20. What will you do? What will you do? Then third unit of cream and pain, first unit of pain. What will you do? Tell me quickly. Do not worry for mistake.
Pen.
You will go for pen. Now I want to tell you certain things. One is, you see, all of you are actually an economist, because you may not know the terminology, but in fraction of second your brain is taking a decision in market, say take market, as per your requirement. There is no doubt about it. There is perfect clarity. Fraction of second you are taking a decision because your mind knows what to do. And you are behind the scene, you always doing it. Without knowing might be this terminology and so and so. In this case, if you say that you are looking for this pain, then I would say, no, your answer is wrong. Because if it is exactly 20 and here also it is 20, you are not supposed to take a decision. Means you cannot take a decision. Either you are having 40 rupees, suppose, right now, then both the item you are together simultaneously you are purchasing it. And if you are having limited money, then you cannot take a decision, because technically speaking, they are having same utility, equal utility. So here law of equimarginal utility is coming into picture. Suppose, what I mean to say, suppose here, suppose cream, suppose one commodity is there that is expressed, marginal utility is expressed mu x. Marginal utility with respect to commodity x is expressed in which way? It is px is the money value you are ready to pay, suppose 30, multiplied by marginal utility of money, because each and every unit of money will have its own marginal utility. This is a constant value as per assumption. This marginal utility of money is constant. 1 rupee, suppose each and every 1 rupee coin will have its own utility. So that utility multiplied by 30, you are repaying such kind of coin is there 30. So 30 multiplied by marginal utility of money. Suppose if I assume that marginal utility of money is constant, then you can express it in this way. And for y, for another commodity, we can express marginal utility of y equal to py into marginal utility of money. As long as marginal utility of this one is higher than this one, without any doubt, anything you are going and you are purchasing. No problem. Quickly you are taking a decision, you are going on. But the moment they become equal, the moment they become equal, means this you can express it in other way also. Like your, from here, you can write it like your marginal utility of x by px into marginal utility of money equal to 1 equal to marginal utility of y by py into marginal utility of money. Or in other way, you can express it in other way, like marginal utility of x by marginal utility of y equal to px by py, and so and so. This is your law of equimarginal utility. Means what happened when marginal utility become equal, then consumer is supposed to be indifferent. You cannot take a decision. If you have enough money, you are purchasing both. But if you are not having enough money, then you cannot, technically speaking, you cannot. And someone said that you will go for pen. then might be pen is having marginal utility more than 20, maybe in fraction, it might be having marginal utility more than 20, maybe 20.00001. Or the cream, third unit of cream is not having utility 20, it is 19.99999, something like that. It may happen. It is not exactly equal. Then only you can say that I will go for pen. I will not go for cream, third unit of cream. Okay. So this is your law of equimarginal utility. Means as long as marginal utility is not equal, you can easily purchase without any problem. Where marginal utility is more, you are purchasing that one, particular unit of that commodity. But the moment it become equal, you are indifferent. Okay. So this is your switching over decision actually. Your switching over decision with respect to consumers' preference that I was discussing. Okay. Any question? Anything? But I am giving you a hints here. Now, because I am actually opening the door to move on to ordinal measure. And how I am doing it here? I am taking the help of this assumption. Constant marginal utility of money. Constant marginal utility of money. The assumption says that marginal utility of money will remain constant. Okay, for money it is constant. But the other group of economists, ordinalist means they are called ordinalist, and cardinal measure, those economists are called cardinalist. And the other group is called ordinalist. The ordinalist means other group of economists. They said that why you not treat money just like any other commodity? And if it is just like any other commodity, then it also supposed to follow law of diminishing marginal utility. Because for other commodity you assumed it follow diminishing marginal utility, but for money you assumed it follow constant marginal utility. So you are contradicting your own assumption. The other group of economists says in that way. And they give a example. They brought an example also. Suppose you can consider an example for an individual over a period of time, or two individual or more individual at a particular point in time. Like, think about your case. In other section also I say this one, that think about your case, that right now you are studying maybe in second year or third year, mostly second year, but you are having said 100 rupee in your pocket. This 100 rupee may have different meaning right now, but after 5 years or 10 years, you will be in well placed, might be leading a team or might be leading an industry. You are having billions of rupees. Then this 100 rupee may have different meaning. Might be you are giving a tips, might be in a restaurant. When you are having plenty, it may have different meaning. If this is the case, then how can you assume that marginal utility of money is constant? Or at a particular point in time, if you want to explain the same thing, consider a billionaire and consider a roadside beggar. The billionaire might be giving 100 rupee as a tips in a restaurant, but for a roadside beggar, that 100 rupee may be his, say, 2 days or 3 days budget for his survival. So if this is the case, how can you assume that marginal utility is constant? For different person, it is having different meaning, depending upon how much you are having. If you are having plenty, human nature, you will undervalue it. If you are having less, you will value it more and more. And the example I give in yesterday or day before yesterday in other section is your tiger and goats. If tiger number is decreasing, it is becoming more and more valuable. It is be declared as endangered. We are spending billions of rupees for conservation or protection of tigers and so and so. Okay. You are spending money to go to zoo to see a tiger even. But if tigers are population is just like goats or buffaloes, moving here and there, not attacking people and moving here and there in roadside, they are moving. Will you spend money to see a tiger and will you go to zoo or national park to see a tiger? Will government spend so much money for conservation of tiger when tiger population is so much plenty, moving here and there in roadside? So this is the case. Means when it is plenty, you will undervalue it. You know it already. So this other group of economists, they said that no, you are violating your own assumption. So you cannot measure utility in a cardinal way. You can measure utility only in a relative way. Okay. So here comes your ordinal measure of utility. Ordinal measure of utility. Ordinal measure of utility means you are measuring utility in relative term, higher than or less than or greater than or less than. So to do that one, you have to have minimum 2 commodities. Clear? So I will discuss it in next class. Ordinal utility, ordinal measure. Let me save it first. Okay. I will discuss it in next class. Any question? Anyone is having any question? I'm downloading it. Your attendance sheet. Maybe. Let me stop the recording.